In case you're getting confused by all of Trump's technical jargon, Trump broke it down in a way that everybody could understand.
Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. But with Tylenol, don't take it.
You hate to see him plagiarizing FDR like this.
Love it or leave it.
Let's get into it. What a week. We live in cruel, capricious, and dangerous times, with new threats around every corner. To wit, there was this national security incident at the United Nations earlier this week. Yes, when Donald Trump and Monday's Melania Trump stepped onto the escalator, it stopped. The escalator stopped. And you're laughing? Here's White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, no relation.
And if we find that these were UN staffers who were purposefully trying to literally trip up the president and the first lady of the United States, well, there better be accountability for those people. And I will personally see to it, Jesse.
Good.
This is a first. I've never seen someone asked to speak to the world's manager. On Wednesday, Trump went on social media and called for UN staff to be arrested in a post about the escalator that was somehow this long. Look at this fucking thing. He accused the United Nations of 3 sinister events, adding the escalator, a teleprompter malfunction, and a wonky sound system to the mix. It's amazing that Melania and I didn't fall forward onto the sharp edges of these steel steps face first, said the leader of our armed forces. It was only that we were each holding the handrail tightly, or it would have been a disaster. This was absolutely sabotage. It's sad to see Trump go woke like this. When you think about it, escalators are just DEI stairs. Also, it's beyond disturbing that Trump needs a teleprompter to do his usual rambling nonsense. It's like catching your dog reading bark, bark, bark from his phone. The UN released a statement saying it was a member of Trump's team who ran ahead of him and accidentally triggered the escalator stop mechanism at the top, and White House staff, not UN officials, operate the president's teleprompter, which I can tell you is true. The president's teleprompter is operated by the White House Military Office, and they do a very good job. And I felt bad whenever I had to make last-minute changes while sweating through my wrinkled suit, because these were very serious, disciplined, well-appointed people, and I did not belong in that kind of a professional setting, which is why I do this now. According to Maria Bartiromo, that stopped escalator almost became an international crisis, but for the quick thinking of our First Lady.
The president wants answers. After the escalator stopped, as soon as he and the First Lady stepped on it, look how great Melania was. She is unfazed. She walks on it, it stops, she turns around to the president, and she just leads the president up and walks. So she was unfazed by it. But this could have been a massive issue. And, you know, the president being frozen there in one place makes him vulnerable.
I see the problem here. You're confusing the president with sharks. I feel like I'm in outer space. Unfazed by a stopped escalator. President stands still all the time. Have I lost my fucking mind? But don't worry, Republicans are nothing if not solutions-minded. Here's Jesse Waters' answer for the United Nations gaffe.
I mean, this is an insurrection. And what we need to do is either leave the UN or we need to bomb it.
It was noted moments later that the UN is located in New York City. Boy, that escalated quickly, which is not something Trump could say at the UN. Huh? Thank you. Now, if Trump has new enemies at the UN, they're at the bottom of a very long list. After all, if Epstein can get on his bad side, it can happen to anybody. On Saturday night, Trump posted a missive on Truth Social addressed to Attorney General and woman who parked too close to your car, Pam Bondi, in which he demanded that she prosecute his enemies, which is obviously gross. Let Pam enjoy her weekend. This is how loyalist attorneys general get burned out. Authoritarian hustle culture is still hustle culture. Pam, said Trump, I have reviewed over 30 statements and posts saying that essentially same old story as last time, all talk, no action, nothing is being done. What about Comey, Adam Shifty Schiff, Letitia? They're all guilty as hell, but nothing is going to be done. We can't delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and credibility. They impeached me twice and indicted me 5 times over nothing. Justice must be served now. Everything about the Trump era is worse than the Nixon era, up to and including the fact that we won't even get any good paranoid thrillers out of this. Trump is his own Deep Throat. Which makes sense. The post came a day after U.S. Attorney Eric Siebert resigned under pressure from Trump. Trump was pissed that Siebert hadn't brought any criminal charges against Attorney General from New York, Letitia James, and former FBI director and guy who will never admit that he is personally responsible for electing Trump because it would require him to face that his decision to announce a renewed investigation into Hillary's emails, only to announce a week later and days before the election that he would not change their original finding, was not only a brazen violation of DOJ policy, all the more indefensible given that there was an ongoing investigation of Trump that he did not make public, but amongst the most catastrophic mistakes by a law enforcement official in American history, based not in some apolitical and righteous ethic, but a naive and ultimately self-defeating fear of a perception of bias, a mistake so grand and so rooted in personal flaw that it obliterates any other aspect of his legacy, including his ultimate defiance of Trump, and will define him as a villain for all time, James Comey. Sure. Siebert's office had been investigating Tish James over mortgage fraud allegations, but hadn't found any actual evidence to support an indictment. Said Trump, I don't understand. The AI can't make a video of Letitia James doing mortgage fraud? She doesn't even have to be naked or anything. Siebert was also overseeing the investigation into James Comey for allegedly lying to Congress. After Trump forced Siebert out, Siebert was replaced by Lindsay Halligan, a White House advisor and former Trump lawyer with no prosecutorial experience. Prosecutorial experience. Where we're going, we don't need prosecutorial experience. So Trump gets Siebert out and Halligan in so she can indict James and Comey. But she's got 2 big problems. Well, 3 if you believe in a just and everlasting God. First, there's a ticking clock, and not the one inside the alligator that follows Trump around Mar-a-Lago. The 5-year statute of limitations on Comey's alleged crime falls on Tuesday. Second, federal prosecutors in Virginia presented Halligan with what's called a declination memo, explaining why, after a 2-month investigation, there is insufficient evidence to justify indicting Comey for lying to Congress. It's a tough first day for Lindsay, isn't it? You don't know where the bathrooms are, you've never prosecuted a criminal case before, and you were given one job by the world's least loyal boss, but your brand new team, mouth still full of "we'll miss you, Eric Siebert" sheet cake, tells you it can't be done. And yet, she persisted. On Thursday evening, at just about the worst time for this show, James Comey was indicted after all. At which point, Lindsay Halligan slowly took off her mask and, oh my God, it's Hillary Clinton. All right, everybody, buckle up. So, FDR's Attorney General, Robert Jackson, gave a famous speech in 1940. This is real. He said, "We know that no local police force can strictly enforce the traffic laws, or it would arrest half the driving population on any given morning. With the law books filled with a great assortment of crimes, a prosecutor stands a fair chance of finding at least a technical violation of some act on the part of almost anyone. In such a case, it is not the question of discovering the commission of a crime and then looking for the man who had committed it. It is a question of picking the man and putting investigations to work to pin some offense on him. It is this realm in which the prosecutor picks some person whom he dislikes or desires to embarrass, or selects some group of unpopular persons and then looks for an offense, that the greatest danger of abuse of prosecuting power lies. It is here that law enforcement becomes personal, and the real crime becomes that of being unpopular with the predominant or governing group, being attached to the wrong political views, or being personally obnoxious to or in the way of the prosecutor himself. That's why Law and Order starts with a murder and ultimately leads to a suspect. It's a much less satisfying watch if you start with Briscoe combing through his ex-wife's trash looking for evidence of tax fraud." I found that full text of the speech by Jackson on the Department of Justice's website, by the way, so you probably should download it for safekeeping. This is a little aside. FDR later appointed Robert Jackson to the Supreme Court. He dissented in Korematsu before taking a leave of absence to prosecute the Nazis at Nuremberg. He had a massive, that's true. He had a massive heart attack in March of 1954 and a second heart attack that killed him in October of 1954. But in between, he literally left his hospital bed so that he could sit in his chair when Earl Warren issued the court's 9-0 ruling in Brown v. Board of Education. So RBG was in good company when she hung on for too long. Oh, where'd you think it was going to land? Some of those that didn't require your complicated feelings to emerge? Trump bad? Every joke has to be Trump bad or you go home? Fuck you. They can't all be Trump bad. Just most of them. Love It or Leave It is brought to you by Quince. Cooler temperatures are rolling in, and as always, Quince is where you can turn for fall staples that actually last, from cashmere to denim boots. The quality holds up, and the prices will blow you away. Quince has the kind of fall staples you'll wear nonstop, like super soft 100% Mongolian cashmere sweaters starting at just $60. Their denim is durable and fits right, and their real leather jackets bring that clean, classic edge without the elevated price tag. What makes Quince different? They partner directly with ethical factories and skip the middlemen, so you can get top-tier fabrics and craftsmanship at half the price of similar brands. I'm a huge fan of Quince. I like their sheets, like their sweats. The quality holds up. Basically, whenever I need to buy something like that could conceivably be on Quince, I check Quince against whatever I'm also looking at, and I tend to find that Quince is the better option with the better price. So, just to make it part of your routine, I think. Keep it classy and cool this fall with long-lasting staples from Quince. Go to quince.com/loveit for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/loveit. Free shipping and 365-day returns, quince.com/loveit. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Where do you go to solve life's problems? The group chat? Strangers? BetterHelp has been helping people find solutions to their problems for over 10 years, and BetterHelp has a 4.9 rating out of 1.7 million client session reviews. Therapy can really help. People need it. We're therapy boys.
We sure are.
I need to get some therapy back on the books. I really do. BetterHelp therapists work according to a strict code of conduct and are fully licensed in the U.S. BetterHelp does the initial matching work for you so you can focus on your therapy goals. A short questionnaire helps identify your needs and preferences, and our 10-plus years of experience and industry-leading match fulfillment rate means we typically get it right the first time. But if you aren't happy with your match, switch to a different therapist at any time from our tailored recs. Fully online, you can pause your subscription whenever you need to and switch therapists anytime, no extra cost. It's convenient. You can join a session with a therapist at the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Find the one with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/loveit. That's betterhelp.com/loveit. And it's not just that Trump's lackeys are looking for any reason to charge his enemies. They have zero interest applying the law when it benefits their allies. The pardon list is long, from friends to insurrectionists. DOJ also dropped its case against Eric Adams in what a federal prosecutor who resigned over it called a quid pro quo. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and housing official Bill Pulte's parents reportedly made the same error on their mortgage documents that the administration is using as pretext to target everyone from Lisa Cook to Adam Schiff. No one at DOJ seems particularly bothered by that. Maybe it's just because I didn't grow up around it, but I've never really understood the draw of vacation homes anyway. It just seems like another place to keep errands and dishes. I have a vacation home in every city on earth. It's called a hotel, and you can use the towels like napkins for bed dinner. It's not a crime yet. Speaking of rich guy problems, we also learned this week via MSNBC that border czar and guy who doesn't like his daughter's boyfriend because he drives a red car, Tom Homan, was under investigation for accepting $50,000 in cash from undercover FBI agents who posed as business executives seeking government contracts. According to the New York Times, the money was delivered to Homan in a bag from Cava. What would you like as your base? Greens. A lot of greens, if you catch my drift. On Monday, the White House denied that Homan had accepted a bag of cash, but Homan himself did not.
They said that you took $50,000 in cash in a bag from an undercover FBI agent to help them win government contracts in Trump's second term, and I imagine you want to respond to that.
Well, I'm sorry. Look, I did nothing criminal. I did nothing illegal. And it's hit piece after hit piece after hit piece.
Interesting. It's actually very easy to say, I did not take $50,000 in cash, but he doesn't say that. And none of the sources familiar with the case who spoke to MSNBC or other reporters, even sources explaining why the charges weren't pursued, say that he didn't accept the money. So, Where's our fucking money? That's tax dollars. Where's my money? The good news is that according to reports, there is hidden camera footage of the exchange, and Democrats in Congress are already demanding that evidence. The bad news is that the Trump administration has a habit of making incriminating videos disappear. So I say, release the Homan files. $50,000 didn't kill themselves. One other note. The sting against Homan took place in September of 2024, but the DOJ and FBI waited to see if, in the event Trump won the election, Homan delivered on the bribe, even though accepting a bribe is a crime, even if you never deliver on it. Which means the Biden DOJ sat on this through the election and the transition and Homan's appointment to a senior White House role, only for the investigation to be closed by Trump's loyal appointees. Another win for Merrick Garland. Maybe he'll share a cell with Comey where they'll go back and forth for 5 to 7 years explaining to each other how they're such good people. And just know that if I end up in that cell with them, I did kill myself. All of this corruption, it's enough to give you a splitting headache. Which is too bad, because in a rambling and deeply false speech on Monday, standing side by side with a guy who you know has fucking insane poops, RFK Jr., Trump claimed that there are people who don't have autism because they don't take Tylenol or vaccines.
And by the way, I think I can say that there are certain groups of people that don't take vaccines and don't take any pills that have no autism. That have no autism. Does that tell you something? That's currently, is that a correct statement, by the way? The Amish, yeah, virtually. I heard none. See, Bobby wants to be very careful with what he says, and he should, but I'm not so careful with what I say.
This plus the escalator fucking broke me this week. Like, we can't be afraid of this fucking guy. Trump went on to explain that this is also why the Amish don't have trains. In addition to the autism-proof Amish, which isn't true, of course, Trump also claimed Cuba has virtually no autism due to Cuba's lack of access to acetaminophen.
I mean, there's a rumor, and I don't know if it's so or not, that Cuba, they don't have Tylenol because they don't have the money for Tylenol, and they have virtually no autism, okay? Tell me about that one.
Does Tylenol cause it, or do cigars cure it? We'll note that there is, it turns out, autism in Cuba, which explains the pretty significant black market for Legos. Havana, more like having autism. In case you're getting confused by all of Trump's technical jargon, Trump broke it down in a way that everybody could understand.
Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. But with Tylenol, don't take it.
You hate to see him plagiarizing FDR like this. Did you know that FDR had a horse named New Deal? And he was the first and for a long time only president to get stuck on an escalator. Cowards. Speaking of it can only good happen, Disney's decision to pull Jimmy Kimmel from the air led to a massive backlash as people all over the country spontaneously launched a consumer boycott, canceling their Disney Plus and Hulu subscriptions. If Steve Martin and Martin Short carry Selena Gomez through 5 seasons of Only Murders in the Building, but no one is there to hear it, does it make a sound? Oh, we're just, that's what we do now as liberals? We just don't tell the truth about what we see with our own fucking eyes? Are you kidding me? When there were but 2 footprints on the beach. That was when Martin Short carried Selena Gomez. By Monday, Disney announced that Jimmy Kimmel Live would return to the air. I almost forgot what it's like to have something go our way. I haven't felt this jazz since Planters announced that Mr. Peanut was trans, which I'm now realizing was a dream I had. Nexstar and Sinclair announced that they would continue to preempt Kimmel, meaning his show won't air on ABC affiliates that reach about 20% of the country. Given that this wasn't part of any plan to get Kimmel back on the air everywhere, it suggests that Disney's reversal on Kimmel was at least in part a reaction to our collective pushback. We all moved, and as a result, they moved, and pretty quickly. And we have some even more exciting news. In order to make amends with Disney's audience of enraged libs, we have some new programming coming this fall to Hulu and Disney Plus, with TV shows like Abolish the NYPD Blue, The Amazing Race, which is not white, Who Wants to Eat a Millionaire, America's Wokest Home Videos, and Grey's Anatomy, Oops, All Abortions. And new films like Beauty and the Beast gets Me Too'd, Snow White and the One Miners Union. Inside Out 3, Meet Climate Guilt. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? It's the Zionists. And Sex Toy Story. On Tuesday night, Kimmel returned to the air with words for Donald Trump.
You almost have to feel sorry for him. He did his best to cancel me. Instead, he forced millions of people to watch the show. That backfired bigly. He might have to release the Epstein files to distract us from this now.
It's like when J.D. Vance called my Pod Save co-host Jon Favreau a dipshit on social media this week. Not exactly the same, it didn't dramatically boost our numbers or anything, but the New York Times covered it, so that's pretty fun. Jimmy called out Trump for threatening to target Seth Meyers and Jimmy Fallon next, and thumbed his nose at Trump's humorlessness.
The President of the United States made it very clear he wants to see me and the hundreds of people who work here fired from our jobs. Our leader celebrates Americans losing their livelihoods because he can't take a joke.
Say what you will about Joe Biden, but at least he couldn't stay up that late. Why don't you imagine a future where you're like cooler? I'm in a bullying mood. I'm sorry, that was too much. That was too much. Trump proved him right by posting, "I can't believe ABC fake news gave Jimmy Kimmel his job back. The White House was told by ABC that his show was canceled. I think we need to test ABC out on this. Let's see how we do. Last time I went after them, they gave me $16 million. This one sounds even more lucrative." But even as Trump continued to issue such obvious threats, out comes J.D. Vance, Trump's intellectual Zamboni, to tell us not to believe our lying eyes.
What people will say is, well, didn't the FCC commissioner put a tweet out that said something bad? Well, compare that, the FCC commissioner making a joke on social media. What is the government action that the Trump administration has engaged in to kick Jimmy Kimmel or anybody else off the air? Zero. What government pressure have we brought to bear to tell people that they're not allowed to speak their mind? Zero. We believe in free speech in the Trump administration. We are fighting every single day to protect it.
Right after we take out Trump's greatest enemy, Osama bin Escalator. In a separate interview, Vance added this.
Now, the FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, put out a couple of tweets, but the government took no action. We did literally nothing to try to take Jimmy Kimmel off the air. We believe in free speech. We also believe in the right of a television station or a network to cancel somebody because of low ratings.
First of all, it wasn't a couple of tweets or jokes on social media. It was an interview where Carr said, "We can do this the easy way or the hard way," and then named Kimmel specifically. Also, Jesus Christ, that's how threats work. You say the threat so you don't have to take the action. He didn't say we can do this the easy way or forget about it. That's the whole purpose of or else. Just because you don't provide the or else doesn't mean you didn't threaten somebody into doing something. The action was the threat. The threat is the action. I feel like I'm in outer fucking space. But clearly, as Kimmel pointed out, and as Vance is reflecting here, this didn't just blow back on Disney, it blew back on Trump too. There's a lesson in this for all of us. Trump is faking it till he makes it. Through his bluster, he pretends to have more power than he actually does in the hopes that others will fall for the act and give him power he couldn't take. And we have seen it work. He's intimidated law firms and colleges and media companies. He got $16 million out of Disney, not to mention virtually every Republican who has caved to his demands. It's what he's doing right now over a potential government shutdown. And by the way, the last time Democrats fell for it, allowing the fear that Trump might use a shutdown to lawlessly eviscerate the government even further to become leverage against them in the negotiations. But as data journalist G. Elliott Morris pointed out this week, a lot of powerful people just don't realize how unpopular Trump is, writing about Disney siding with Trump only to get blindsided by a massive consumer boycott. In an unhinged screed on social media, Trump wrote that he won in a historic landslide. These text boxes are getting fucking crazy. Look at this. Look at this. You know what you're in for. This is not the text of a president. This is a text of a cast member of Vanderpump Rules from 3 a.m. This is like early Kristen Doty. Not current president. Caroline knows what I'm talking about. Trump is demanding that that Democrats go along with whatever he wants while his administration is threatening to use a shutdown as pretext for mass firings, all meant to intimidate his opposition. Or as Chris Murphy put it, he's shutting down the government because he thinks he's a king, which as king behavior goes, pretty fucking lame. Have a big feast, eat a pig with an apple in its mouth, marry your second cousin from Prussia, live a little. All of which had me thinking about a conversation I had with Senator Elizabeth Warren on Monday's Pod Save America episode about the decision by Democrats to focus on the healthcare fight in Congress, which may be politically unifying, but is ultimately a policy disagreement as Trump runs roughshod over the Constitution.
So I think of this as nothing succeeds like success. You got to get some wins.
Mm-hmm.
You got to show that you can stand together, you can stand up when the going gets tough, that you can still all push hard, because that's how we're going to have to take this fight on.
I was really living out this week, seeing Kimmel back on that stage and seeing him deliver what I thought was a truly excellent monologue, the second best late night monologue of the week. But seeing him unbowed when so many others have caved, it was a reminder that capitulation by corporations and institutions is predicated on two things. One, that Trump is very scary, which he is if you're backstage at Miss Teen USA. Remember what we were going to try to imagine together earlier? And two, that Democrats and all those who care about democracy and oppose attacks on basic freedoms are nothing to worry about. But that's just not true. Or really, we have to prove it's not true. Yes, that is up to elected Democrats, and I was glad to see Warren challenging Sinclair and Nexstar and informing the companies that suspending a late-night show in part to seek regulatory favors not only erodes the First Amendment, but also creates the appearance of a possible quid pro quo arrangement that could implicate federal anti-corruption laws. Because it's kind of fun to imagine a day when those laws are enforced again, like imagining yourself being the star quarterback. But it's not just up to them, it's up to all of us. We all have to fake it till we make it. It's the best policy in sex, and it's the best policy here. It's like a wise man once said, it can only good happen. We gotta get some wins on the board. That's why I fed that mogwai after midnight and unleashed its unholy progeny on the utility ducts at the United Nations. All right. And inexplicably, that is the end of the monologue. All right. Yeah, thanks.
Shoot,